Going on, Jerome's Minnesota Fighting Vikings did not get it done in Detroit, but head coach Kevin O'Connell, quarterback Kirk Cousins, and others spoke to the local media jackals after the game and got a little insight, so we got some thoughts on some thoughts. First up, Alec Lewis, The Athletic. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell confirmed post-game that Dalvin Cook was attempting to throw a pop pass in the red zone on the fumble, referenced Johnny Munt being open in the back of the end zone, and yeah, I mean, it's one of the spots where if it worked out, he looks like a genius doing the jump, Tebow, or the Dontari Poe jump pass, all that stuff. But coming in with 0 points, first and goal from the 3, backbreaking, just ridiculous. Now, he did say that there was a lot of interior pressure issues that blew up that play. Is what it is. Alec Lewis, Vikings injuries from Lions game per Kevin O'Connell. Jordan Hicks, left foot, will have MRI if he misses time. Brian Asamoah season. Chris Boyd, left knee contusion being evaluated. Real unfortunate if he would miss time because Chris Boyd has been great on special teams this year. James Lynch, shoulder being evaluated. Really kind of sucks. James Lynch has stepped up nicely along the defensive line this year. And then Blake Brandel, right knee, will have MRI. He went down late in the game. Oli Udoh stepped in. But you do have Christian Darrisaw, who has been cleared and is probably going to return on Saturday against the Colts. Seifert, who is not Carl Gershman. Harrison Smith, neck, and Garrett Bradbury, back, set out. But their injuries are not long-term per O'Connell. In a game where we were coming in with everything we had, we still wanted to be smart as we get into December with some of our guys, some of our players that have been banged up. And I get it. I understand it, but if this had been a playoff game, I think that Harrison and Bradbury, as well as Christian Darrisaw, probably would have played. And if Harrison and Bradbury played, I think that the Vikings win because the issues were miscommunications in the secondaries, particularly among Josh Metellus and Cameron Bynum. I don't think that happens if Harrison Smith is out there, as well as the offensive line had a lot of issues. I mean, he had 22 rushing yards, and I mean, Kirk Cousins was sacked 3 times and pressured probably a dozen. So a lot of issues going around there. But again, I get it. Have them be near 100% as you get into clutch time at the end of the season. Ben Gessling, O'Connell on the long touchdown to Jamison Williams. We were in quarters coverage structure, and they just were able to get one of those safeties to kind of nail down. It opened up the explosive, similar to a couple of plays we hit on the other side. And Josh Metellus said after the game that he had the running back, and he did bite pretty hard on that play action. And he's talked about quarters coverage, so that means 4. Each guy taking up a quarter of the coverage of the field, but there's only three guys in the secondary, and yeah, it did not work out. Full on busted coverage and miscommunication in the secondary. Kevin Seifert again. Kevin O'Connell did not second guess his decision to call a trick play from the 3-yard line just before halftime. Dalvin fumble, blah blah blah. O'Connell talked about the interior penetration, and again, if it worked out, he's called a genius. But since it didn't, he's going to be second guessed. I will say that running more of a high risk play in that spot where it's absolutely paramount that you have to come away with points in that situation, does open yourself up to criticism when it doesn't work out. Gessling, O'Connell on the Vikings defense. We got to take a look at this one's spicy. We got to take a look at what we can do to help our guys be in position to make more plays, be a little more aggressive possibly. I think we got to generate some more rush, however we do it, and then try to limit explosives. And I believe Seifert pointed out that on 41 defensive plays, the Vikings only blitzed 9 times and only got pressure 2 of those 9 times. Imagine only getting pressure 2 times out of 9 when you blitz. That's unacceptable. It's just ridiculous. But I think that Kevin O'Connell, these comments, as well as the way that his body language was on the sideline, I think that he seems like a guy who's ready to make a change on defense, and hopefully either firing Donatell or having him change things. And see, that's the whole thing. I mean, the Vikings have just been sitting back in coverage and rushing 4, and they're getting carved up 5 straight games of 400-plus yards of offense. But what's the worst that can happen if you blitz and gamble? It's like, you give up yards and points? You've been doing that. You've been doing that, man. Thomason, Vikes coach Kevin McConnell said he wasn't sure if Justin Jefferson actually stepped out of bounds on the late long pass. He wants to take a look at it. He did not. And this is what's ridiculous about the officials, where they were obviously biased against the Vikings all damn day long. And you could say, like, well, if Jefferson scores there, it doesn't matter because Dalvin fumbled and the defense is bad, all that stuff. So officials should be allowed to get things wrong and just get away with it? No, absolutely not. And if it's close, the officials need to let the play out, because what if he doesn't step out of bounds, which Jefferson did not, and you blow the play dead? That's it. Like, you can't reconstruct after the whistle. It's like, Jefferson was running and the defender wouldn't have caught him. You can't do that. But if you let the play out, and if he did step out of bounds, guess what? They can challenge it and they can reverse that. So, I mean, would have made a difference. And well, the Vikings did score later on the drive, but Jefferson with that touchdown would have been great because they would have saved a minute plus. So now, instead of onside kicking with 2 minutes 50 seconds left, maybe you try to play defense. Well, probably not with 4 minutes left and 2 timeouts. Just frustrating. Thomason, Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins talked about it being a t-shirt and hat game, meaning that the Vikings could have secured the division. They would have had a t-shirt and a hat and a big old celebration on the way home. But no garb handed out. Says on Clutching the FC North, you want to shut the door. You do. Where the only way that the Vikings can lose the division is if they lose their next 4 games in a row and the Lions win their next 4 games in a row, which probably is not going to happen, but it's also non-zero. And for Vikings fans, you know. And then lastly, Jefferson breaking Sammy White's record. By the way, so Sammy White has the regular season record of 210, but Anthony Carter had 227 in a playoff game, but it doesn't count because it's so stupid. Yeah, a single game is a single game, but yeah, I'm proud of myself individually, but it wasn't. It isn't an individual game, so I'd rather have the win over the stats any day. Sort of like in week 3, we just got to execute our plays and come ready to play next week. I mean, absolutely, that's what it comes down to. The Vikings were not ready to play this week. That comes down to coaching. The defense was garbage. That comes down to coaching. So, a lot of things, man. But on to the next one. Vikings still 10-3, can still clinch the division with a Vikings win or a Lions loss, and yeah, secure the 2 seed. 1 seed's bye-bye because the Eagles keep winning, but what can you do? But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings post-game pressers and media availability. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts and their thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo, but until next time, Skol, production value.